So guys, our today's topic is mastering in Git and GitHub. And here is and I'm your host. My name is Tohidara Himu and I'm thrilled to be your host. I am a part of Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador community currently at Alpha Milestone. I'm really excited to guide you through today's session on a topic that's essential for anyone involved in coding and development. Here is our today's content. Here we today's cover this part. Introduction to Git and GitHub, how to using Git and GitHub, connect your GitHub account to Git, create and edit code files locally, create a repository on GitHub, push your local code to GitHub, common Git commands. Here is our introduction part of Git and GitHub. Git and GitHub are the key tools in programming. If you are a programmer and you are working in software engineering, this related field, then you have must need to have an account in GitHub. And these are essential for building a project but can seem complex at first. I hope this workshop simply helping you to how to work and GitHub works so you can start using them with confidence. In Git and GitHub there have some basic differences. I have also tried to understanding for your better understanding. I have attached a difference picture so that you can understand easily. Then what is Git? Git is a distributed version which helps to control system, helps to engage our code and managing different and collaborating. GitHub is a cloud-based platform that hosts Git repositories, allowing you to share your codes, collaborating with others, and manage projects in online. GitHub is a service and Git is software. And GitHub is a graphical user interface. Then next come how to start using Git and GitHub. If you are a new user and don't know how to use it, then this is for you. And I have trying my best to understanding you how can you have easily using and used to with these platforms. Like if you are first a new user, then first you have need to install your Git in your device. If you are a Mac user or you Windows user, you must need to install Git. But if you want to understand if in your PC already have a Git, then you have not just need to check it. If you are a Windows user, then you first need to open your terminal and to write this code git version and then enter. Then it show you if your device have a git or not. And if you are a Mac user, then you just same way follow the same way. You just need to open your terminal and write this code. This is the basic thing when you have first time use Git and GitHub. And Git and GitHub both are connected to each other. At first, you have need to ensure that in your device already GitHub exists on. Then you have if you have don't have a Git account or Git in your PC, then first you have need to go their official website. From there, from your suitable device, you can download it from there. I have also attached the picture in there so that you can understand, and this is their basic official website. When you visit there, if you're Mac user, just you need to click on Mac, and if you're Windows user, then you just need to click it and then easily download in a few minutes. When you have already download your Git in your device, then next step is you have to open a GitHub account. Then many of you don't know how to create a GitHub account. When at first you have need to go their official website GitHub, and when you go their official website, then you landed in this type of page. Then you just need to click on sign up, and then you have just need to give your basic some information like your emails and your password. But sometimes it happens someone cannot sign in first time because of poor network. So guys, when you have first time opening a GitHub account, at least ensure your internet connection is very well. And this is not any difficult to open a GitHub account, and this account is must be mandatory if you are working, if you are thinking about working in technologies or tech companies, then this is must. This is also like a work as your CV. Then next is when you have already opened your GitHub account, then your next step is you have need to set your GitHub username. Then how can, if you're a new user, then you just need to open your terminal, and then you have need to just write it git configure global and username, and then in a quotation you have need to give your name. Sometimes it happen if you are work in a working company, then you have get a different types of email or name. Then for your official website you have need to give your this that's company's name. And if you have personally using, then you just give user your name. When you have already set your username, then next you how can you understand your name is already set? For confirm your username, then you have just need to write this code. You don't need to memorize this course, you just need to copy and paste it, but in there you have to change in according to your name and your information. In this way you can check your output like this way, but you have to ensure that you have write your name in a double quotation. Without double quotation your name is not set in there. Then next is you have to need to set your email. This is also the same of username, but sometimes you have to.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, what does the global indicates in here?
This
Is
means
it it's about like exposing my Git to internet so I can manage my code through the internet? It's something like this or something else?
this means it's not a personal. This is not your personal account. This is global. Mean globally anyone can using your. That means you have you globally use it. And this is for public. If public anyone come your Git's profile, they can easily saw your this name and your username. But if you have publicly used this, actually Git have a two configuration. One is a global and another is a public. So if you have used global, then this is give you more collaborating to others, and this is give you globally to recognize others, so that globally people can understand you in a better way globally. This is not like just networking issues and other things. I hope you understand. Have you any other question?
Yes, thanks.
In the same way, you have also give your email in double quotation. If you want, you can, if you have a 5 email address like your university, your office, personal, then for them you have to use different types of email for your work purpose. This is not fixed like that. If you have used your uh, personal Gmail, but you cannot use your other Gmail, this is not like that. Depending on your work, you can use different types of email, but just ensure that you have write it in double quotation. Otherwise, it doesn't work. In the same way, if you have to confirm if your email is already set, then you have to again write this command and enter, then it show your email. Sometimes it happen you have forget it what type of email you have used and which email you use for which thing. Then you just need to write this comment and you can see the output. Then you can easily understand in this project you have used which email. Third step is authentication. When you have already opened a GitHub account, then they have asking you to authorize your GitHub account. This is something like our Google Gmail account. They ask us for authentication. If you're really a human or you are spamming, this reason they have asking for your authentication. When you first enter your GitHub account, then they're asking you sign in. When you sign in with your email, and they just for your confirmation, they're asking for this authentication. And next, how can create and edit your code files locally? Programmers and other different types of technologies people using and prefer different types of code editor. For your better understanding, I have used VS Code. Most of the people are well known with it. So first you have need to open a file like index.html, and this is the basic HTML for your understanding. If you are want, you can write in different types of programming languages like Python, Java, C, C++, any language you can write in this code in there. Okay, guys. So when you have first write this code, in this way you can, if you want, you can index.html, and if you want, you can also different types of lot of files you can make in there. And then you have to open a terminal. Then a question, then we if we want to connect it, if we want to connect it, this code in our Git account, then we have need to go and create a repository on GitHub. Then many of you don't understand what is the repository. In this code, you have write this code, and this code is one kind of repository. As a repository is on kind of a folder name. When we have open a folder, and in our folder we have set it a lot of files, and repository is also like a folder, and this is also a all of these are a files. Then how to create a repository on your GitHub? When you have already opened your GitHub account, then you can also see this type of interface. In your interface, and you have just need to click your plus icon, and then you saw these things: new repository, import repository, new code space, new gadget, new organization, new project. But for now, we have just wanted to open a repository. For this repository, we have just need to click new repository. New repository. In your GitHub account, you just need to open, click plus sign at the top, and this top you have just need to click it. And repository are like your code folders online. You will be prompted to this page, name your repository. When you have already clicked a new repository, then you have get, then it take you another page that's called a create a new repository. And this same way, when we have first time open a folder, we have need to give a name, and they have also asking us a name. Depending on your project, you have need to give this related a project name. Like you have making a project like chatting application, then you just need to give it here chatting application. This is your repository name. When you have give your repository name, then you just need to you you have to go in next part. Here is description. In description part, here you can just write about your project. Like you have working in a chatting application project. What is the main purpose of this your project, and what type of work and what type of feature you have added in this project. You just need to write it and describe in here. If anyone come to your profile and they want to saw your project, then they have get a small idea about what is the main features of this project. Then you have need to create it public or private. Here is a two part. If you want to make your project public, then just you need to keep public. That means when any other and any from other sites people, if they visit this place, then they can saw your project. But if you have don't want people, other people saw your project, then you just need to keep it private. Within your work purpose, you can change it. If you have first time open it with a private, then next time in your setting you can make it a public. After then, they're asking you initialize this repository with add a readme file. Readme file is also like a description. If you don't want to give a description in there, and also here is mentioned description is optional. This is not a mandatory for you. You have must need to give a description in there. If you want, you just skip this part and then just wait for this other section. And if you want to add a readme file, you just need to check it. If you don't want, then you don't need to give here any check. After completing this all of setting, just you need to click create a repository. In this way, you have opened a repository. When you have clicked the create repository, in the next page you get this like of page. In this page, In there have a HTML, a HTTP URL, and this URL is they made it. You don't need to worry about it. They already make it for you. Like we have give their name is a sample code, our repository, and they give you a URL, and they have give you some command lines. You don't need to memorize any code, guys. Some people when they first time are use GitHub, they just panic. They have to there's something like that, they have thought they have to memorize this all of these codes. But no, it's not like that. You just need to copy it and paste it in your terminal. It will sure work very better way. Then guys, how can we have utilized these code commands? Like when we have already opened a repository and now we want to add our file in this and push on there, then we have just need to follow these steps. For open the VS terminal in shortcut, you just click Control plus Shift plus. Some people have who love to use shortcuts. After opening your VS Code, then you have need to open your terminal and just copy it and paste in there. In this code, it indicates like when we have opening a repository, they're asking us to initial a readme file. If we have to check it, then we don't need to write this code again. That's indicate we have made a readme a file. If you already have checked it, then you don't need to give this code. But if you have not give the code, then you just need to command it and just paste it. Then it will make a readme file by own self. Now next step is you have to initial your code. Like guys, you have we have made this code and now we want to push it in our Git. Then we have need to open a terminal and just give a command git init. That means we have initialized this Git repository. And after that, if we want to edit different types of files, as if we have already make a 5 files, like index.html, registration.html, login.html, lot of files. We want to add all of them. Then we just need to give this command git add dot in our terminal. All of this work are going on in our terminal. And here is the comment section. Like you have make a project and you have again second time visit this project and you have wanted to change some things. Want to change some code lines like h1 tag, you want to make it some changes. Then when second time you have wanted to change it, then you can comment it in there. Like you can say here, change my HTML tag. You just need to write it, I have changed my HTML tag. This like commenting something. When you next time visit in your codes, you can understand you have what type of change you have occurred in your last visit to your project. Then rename the current branches. Branches mean we have already opened a repository like folder, and folder in our folder have a set in a specific section. Like we have make a folder in our desktop or our documents, like that. All of these documents and this desktop is in another version in GitHub we can call it branch. Branch means it's location. Like here in Git branches, here is M, capital M main. In here our branches we initial as a main branch. And to link our local repository, and this link is already given in there. We just need to copy it and paste in our terminal. That means your repository is already, local repository is already connected to GitHub repository folder. And in our last step is we have need to push. Push means we have already initial our file in our Git, and now we have need to this file also go in our repository project. Then we have write this git push. Pushing means we have pushing this code in our repository section. This reason you have used a small u origin main. And we have clicked it, then our html dot index.html file is already have in our GitHub repository. Sometimes it's happen we some people who are expert, they have just write this code. But if you have freehand writing in this code, then you have make sure you don't make any mistake. As like it's a small m, if you have give a capital M, then the code is never work. It show you a lot of error. When you are a first user, just make sure guys using to copy and paste it, and when you are used to with this code commands, then this is not difficult for you. And here is the final section. In this time we have using and discussing these command lines, and here we have just give these commands, and this is our html file, and in there we have give our commands. And after then, when your this file is already pushing in your GitHub repository, it's look like that. But if you give there a wrong command, then it show you a error. And sometimes it's happened when people saw error, they just panic. What is actually happened? But they cannot find out. This is not a big issue. They just have happened because of this command section. Because in here, some spaces have uses capital letter and small letters. So guys, don't confuse it. When you using this Git and GitHub, you make sure and careful that's time. And here we are discussing some common Git commands. Here is the common Git commands. Now we are discussing about some common Git commands. Like, how can we have initial a Git? If we want to initial our any file to Git, then we just need to memorize this code like git init. It start tracking your project with Git. So guys, when you have first time user of Git and GitHub, first you have make sure you have a Git in your device, and then just open your GitHub account. Otherwise, if you don't have any Git, then your this code is not working. And next step is the add files to stages area. If you want to add it a file like git add readme.md, this is the file. And if your file name is registration, then git add registration. But here you have to make sure your file name and the here file name is also be same. If you have write your file name in there is a capital letter and give in here a small letter, then it doesn't work. You have need to be more careful about this time when you using it. And if you want, you have make a 5 files, and now you want to add all of them in a one time. You don't want to add this in a single one by one. Then you have just need to git add dot. That means you have initialize all the files and write it in your project. Then you have just need to write this code, and it give you the view the history of your command, what type of comments you have write in which time. And next is a create a new branch. Branch means starting a new branch for a development. So a question arises all of your mind, what is branch? Branch in GitHub is like a separate workspace where you can make a changes to your project without affecting the original version. When you are done, you can combine your changes back into the main project. Like you can make another files outside of this grid, and if you want, you can also edit this files in your main branch. Branches is like a root of your project. And if you want, you can change your branches. Like now you have a in a main branch, and now you want to push it in a origin or another branch. Then you just need to write these commands. When you have when you have work in your project and use these commands, then these things are very easy for you. If you want to rename the current branch of main, that means if you want to set your repository in main branch, then you just need to click git branch in main. This is standardize your branch name to main. This is initializing to your branch name in main. Then here is come another section, add a remote repository. Guys, if like add a remote repository, when you have make it a repository, then after creating repository, you land it in your page. In there, you have get a this link. This link is automatically created to when you have already created repository. It automatically created this link. You don't need to create it by your own self. And this link is already connected to your local. Are you want to say
Can I ask
something?
a question?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't get quite the good idea about the branch. Is it the branch mean I'm working on a different code, then but I don't want the code into the main code. It's like a branch of a tree I'm working on there, and I want to stick it to the main tree. Is it like that?
Also like that, but here a branch is already a separated workspace. If you have if you have working out of this space, then it doesn't affect on your main origin version. Like you're saying, you have already similar and close to your saying this is almost same. It's not as different. But when like you have work in a different workspace, and when you have make a changes like in your project, then it never affecting on your origin version. And when you are done, you can combine your changes back into the main project. Like suppose you have made a project, and in your project you have first time when you have worked in your project and you push it, and second time you have come in your project and now you wanted to change some things. But when your change is that, but in your Git repository the changes is not happening there. That means it have already have your old in version, that not new version. But when you second time you work in this new version and to push it again, then it overlapping and it will give you the update, always update version. Get it?
Okay, now I understand. It's mean working on a different workspace of my code. I can test it and in my way. Then if I want, if I say that my code is okay, I want to put it in the main branch, then I can do it. It's like that, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. And then is a push changes to Git. When you have already initial your project and you have added remote repository also in your main branches, then now you have just need to push it. For pushing your, you have just need to write this code, and that means it helps to upload your changes to GitHub. And pull changes from GitHub. Pull means something if fetching and mark changes for GitHub. Like you have already make a code and push it, but second time when you have work and want to change it, then you have just change it and push it, and that's time it show you a pull. That means you have some change occur in there in your GitHub account, it will show you. And 12 is merge branches into current branches. When you have already update your file in repository and push it, then it will also merging on your branch name, combine another branch with your current one, like it's overlapping in your older version to update version. When you have pushed your update version, then it overlapping, but the older version is never deleted or disappear. It will also have in there. And when you have look your history of your GitHub account, then you have saw what kind of changes you happened in there. This is all like of your history. And third one is clone a repository from GitHub. Like you have already make a project, and any outsider people, they visit your website GitHub account and now wanted to take your, if you have make the project is public, then if other people can want, then he can also take your project in and can clone it and in her PC. In their cloning means you make a project and other one is trying to make a copy version. This indicate almost a copy version. If you have publicly make your project, then they can write in their git clone and your given http url. If he pastes in his pc, then it will the all file folders you have making your of the full project is already can store in her local pc. That means copy an existing repository to a local machine. And if you sometimes this happen, when first time we have changed in our project and second time we have come and we saw a new version, but when we have new version, sometimes it happen our project is deleted sometimes, but if we want to, we can also restore our project in there, like in this way. Just write it and paste it or link, then we can also again restore our project. This is very helpful. Sometimes it happen our pc sometimes broken down, our folder are deleted, then this is the very convenient way to store your ports. And here is the last section is the delete a branch. If like you have given a branch name and now you wanted to delete it, or you delete not only branch files, other things, just you need to write this comment and enter it, then it will remove the branch from your local repository. Basically GitHub is very well known, and in our this global world GitHub is very convenient for us. In our daily life we have like today we have practice a python a project or a problem. If we want, we can also edit this code in our git. This is also stored in your git, and when you are regularly working in your github account, then your github account first landing interface it show a green light. That means in this week how many days you have worked in git and how many times you have give in your git project or github account. This is also like as your cv when you have applying for your job in different tech companies or software companies. They have, if you give and provided them your github link and they saw you're working and to how many time you have used to with github, then this give a very good impression on your cv. And if you are well known with github, then it is they give you a better chance to work with the better companies. Okay guys, that's the end of our session. If you have any question, you can ask me now.